Hi, welcome to Kidney Corner. My name is Nicki Howard and I'm with the National Kidney Foundation of Indiana. And today our topic is going to be nutrition and your kidneys. Start the new year right. So we're going to be sharing some important nutritional information for kidney patients. And today we are very lucky to have with us a couple of kidney dietitians, renal dietitians. We have Angie Thumb and Nancy Sargent. They're from Fresenius Medical Care, so thank you ladies for coming to be with us today and share your information.
Yeah, thanks for inviting us.
Well, let's just begin by understanding what are the current education and training requirements for a kidney dietitian?
Great. Well, to be a registered dietitian, you have to go to school for 4 years, have a bachelor's degree, and then you have to do an internship, a work-study kind of program, and those vary in length, but somewhere 6 months to a year.
Okay.
And then take a national registration exam and pass that test to get your license. And then to be a renal dietitian, to focus on kidney patients, you have to have another year's experience of just clinical experience working in general setting to work with dialysis patients.
Okay, well that's quite a bit of study, and I know there's a lot to learn.
There's a lot, yeah.
And we do have a slide here that kind of highlights the role of the renal dietitian as far as some of the duties. And Nancy, would you like to touch on that and talk about some of those roles that you do?
Well, what we do is we assess the patient using their height, weight, labs, their medical history, what kinds of medical conditions do they have in addition to their kidney failure, and kind of go through and assess what they might know about nutrition, especially in the setting of kidney failure. And then we provide education and assist them with learning things that might help them in their diet, such as meal planning or just ideas for what meals might look like, reading food labels.
Oh, that's a big one, yeah, reading the food labels, that's for sure. So some of the nutritional concerns that maybe a person that's not yet on dialysis, or they're pre-kidney failure, so what would some of those food concerns be that a person needs to be aware of if they're a CKD?
For the general population, but especially for people who have kidney disease, one of the main things that we want to look out for is salt or sodium in our food. And there are, lots in our food, especially in the society we live in, a quick, fast go all the time. So we try and use a lot of those convenience foods, and unfortunately that's where we get a lot of the sodium in our food, not just from a salt shaker.
Right.
And so, the foods, fast foods, like I said, convenience foods, luncheon meats and TV dinners and those kinds of things, and those, is where we get a lot of the sodium and salt in our food.
Yeah.
What we recommend for most people with kidney disease is to keep their sodium intake less than 2,000 milligrams in a day.
Oh, okay.
And you can, kind of look at that by looking at food labels. So Nancy brought some examples today of just a few things and where to look at on the food label if you want to.
Oh, okay, sure.
Well, every food is required to have certain mandatory things, and so there's little, I don't know if you have a picture of that, but little nutrition fact. And the nutrition fact tells how many servings are in a container and how many calories are in it, how much fat, how many grams of carbohydrate, protein, and then it's mandatory that it includes sodium. The important thing to know about sodium, though, is it's the amount per serving. So in this can of soup, it's 2.5 servings, and there's 890 milligrams of sodium in one serving.
Wow, and you're supposed to keep under 2,000 if
for
you're
the day. And so with that 1.5 serving, this can has already the entire day's worth.
What if you don't have kidney issues? How much sodium should you be milligrams per day?
Well, probably 3. Would you say 3?
Yeah, at least less than 3,000.
Okay.
I mean, some, depending on if you're looking at the American Heart Association guidelines, say closer to 2,400, and so you're, still pretty low. But that 2,000, would be really what most people should shoot for, and especially if you do have some kidney disease, blood pressure, diabetes, all those things that can lead to kidney disease. You want to start restricting that sodium.
Okay. Well, while we've got the food label up, we did have the food label up there, did you want to talk a little bit more about some things that people should look
So
at?
the main thing that Nancy already pointed on is that you want to definitely look at that serving size.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and notice that how much of that food are you really going to eat? Because we were just laughing saying, well, a can of soup, most people aren't going to eat just half that can. So you realize how much of that are you really going to have, that you're going to have maybe more than what it's saying. Other things on the
For sure. Yeah.
So
Well, and you did mention protein. So we know that sodium is, you have to really watch that.
yeah.
And now we get to protein.
Right, and people who have kidney disease are probably going to be told to limit their protein. We know that protein, most people think of protein, they think of, steaks and hamburger and chicken and pork and things like that, animal foods, what we'll call those, or high biological protein. So those are the things that are probably more damaging to kidneys that we want to limit. So you can get protein from other things, those plant sources of protein like beans and nuts, legumes. So those things are probably a little better sources of protein for people with kidney
That's
disease.
interesting.
Most people in the American average diet eat way more protein than we probably really, really need. So we're not saying don't eat any protein, but a limited amount, and your physician or your dietitian can talk to you more about that.
Okay. So so we've covered the food label, and are there any other, like when a person, let's say maybe they're having troubles as a new kidney patient, how do you help structure them? Do you go one throw at somebody, when they have to radically change their diet?
Well, usually when they're being referred to, as a pre-dialysis patient, their doctors are going to probably give us a little direction on what kinds of things they're needing. So some pre-dialysis patients just have issues with buildup of fluid, and maybe they need that education about limiting their protein. But others might actually need potassium education, so it's going to usually be individualized to what their needs are.
Okay.
But as a dietitian, I tend to try to focus on the process of making changes. Because to tell somebody to go out and make 100 changes and do that all today so that tomorrow your diet is completely overhauled and expect them to be successful is really, really...
Not realistic.
Unrealistic.
Yeah.
So I would recommend that they focus on maybe one important change that would have the biggest impact, and how can they set up their life and their diet around that change and make that the priority until they can get successful at that and then move forward.
That's good for everyone. So, well, thank you. We'll be back in the next segment to talk more about diet and dialysis. So, stay tuned.
When Margaret and I decided to sell the old estate here, we had only one choice in signage: Logan Street signs and banners. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore, but rather located on 10th Street on the south side of Noblesville. Well, we sold the old beauty, and we were able to buy this wonderful estate. And we had so much money left over, I was able to buy this beautiful 1968 Eldorado Cadillac for Margaret. Only 472,000 miles. Margaret loves it because it's got those big seats and that heavy-duty suspension to support her svelte frame. Next time you're looking for signs or banners, call old Jim at Logan Street Signs and Banners, 773-7200. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore.
Welcome back to Kidney Corner, and today we're focusing on start the new year right and diet for your kidney, because everybody thinks about diets at the new year. And in the first segment we talked about pre-dialysis chronic kidney disease patients and their diet, and now we're going to focus on dialysis patients and their diet. And so we have some great visual aids here to help us understand what is important. And so I guess what I'm hearing is balance. Balance is a good key when you have dialysis, as far as what you need, nutrients you need to watch as far as intake and avoiding, correct?
Yeah, most foods can fit in moderation, so teaching patients what foods are not so great and how to include them in small portions if they enjoy them, so
Right.
they don't totally have to obliterate them from the diet.
And so what are some of the nutrients that a patient might need to avoid to limit their intake, like fluids or phosphorus? So can you kind of talk about some of those?
Well, we talked about sodium in that first section, and so dialysis patients still need to monitor their sodium and keep that sodium amount low. But in addition to that, then they may need to limit potassium, which is in a lot of fruits and vegetables, and that varies a lot depending upon what level of kidney disease you have, but also what treatment you have. If you have hemodialysis or peritoneal home dialysis, you may need more potassium. So we don't want to go a whole lot into that, but it'll probably be regulation depending on your needs of what treatment you have and what your doctor orders for that. We brought some things to talk about protein a little bit more, and fluid. And fluid, we're talking about restrictions right now. So just an idea of fluids. Yeah, this is kind of seems to be the norm. Yeah. You see lots of people walking around with these, and unfortunately I think it's because, it's the 47 cents or the 97 cent deal. But having that extra fluid is not always a deal when you need to limit how much you're having. So yeah, that one's 44 ounces.
Which is above, we say 32 to 48 ounces in a day.
Oh,
so
okay,
I mean,
wow.
it's not above the 48, but if
Yeah.
somebody's trying to stick more towards the 32 ounce per
Right.
day
Yeah,
fluid.
there may be more fluid than they need in one whole day if they're on
Yes,
dialysis, just
yeah.
in that one cup.
Yeah, and just for people that are watching that may not understand that, it's because the kidneys sometimes will not get rid of the excess fluid once they fail. So that
Right.
stays in the body, and you don't want to build up the fluid, and that's why they
Right.
have that restriction.
Right, if you're having dialysis and your kidneys aren't working, then everything you take in between your treatments is just going to build up, and that's part of what the diet does, is help you prevent that buildup and help you feel better between treatments without doing that. So we want to limit those fluids. So just a better idea of maybe, some smaller ideas of things to do. This is a 22 ounce cup, so that still would be, 2 of these would still put you over for a lot of people. So it's hard. You really think you're going a lot smaller, kind of more standard fast food size.
32.
Almost 32. Yeah, close to where we want to be if you fill that up just with water without, ice or anything in there. So, it's a hard thing to do for a lot of people, but some things they can do is really learn to control their thirst by keeping their sodium level down, by chewing on gum or using mints. Keeping your blood sugar under control helps keep that thirst down so you're not drinking as much.
I know, it's such a challenge. People just don't realize, and
Yeah.
it's a lot to deal with. Okay, well, now, did we have some information about phosphates, too? That's another one that people don't realize that are in things that are not healthy for kidney patients, right?
Right. We get a lot of phosphorus from foods. It's an additive in a lot of foods, so it's in tons of foods. It's in cereal.
Yeah, I'm
it's
looking
in
at
canned
all
soups.
these.
It's in frozen dinners. It's in fast food. It's it's in a lot of drinks that we don't realize that it's in. So it's in so many things, and that makes it really one of those harder things to look at. It's also not, when we looked at food labels earlier, we said you can read sodium here, you can read calories here. You can't always read phosphorus. It's not always on the food label. But what you can do is look to get your little magnifying glass out and look in the ingredient list and try and read what's actually in there, and you'll see these big long words that look like they say something about phos. So the example here is Coca-Cola has phosphoric acid in it, so that would be a product that contains that unnatural, unhealthy phosphorus we don't want to do.
Okay, so you look for the word
So
phos.
it becomes some work.
And why is that? Why is that an issue with kidneys? I mean, is it because they don't excrete it, or what?
Yeah, when your kidneys work, they excrete your extra phosphorus, and
that builds up in your blood and can cause a lot of problems, right?
It basically is a mineral, and it turns the inside of the body, the arteries, the veins, the muscles, to stone.
Oh my!
And it can also leach the calcium out of their bones and give them weaker bones. And
okay,
so
they really need to pay attention to that. Yeah. So okay, now on the other side of the balance scale, nutrients that need to be supplemented. What are some of these important things?
Well, a lot of our patients, I know Angie mentioned earlier that a lot of the American public eats plenty of protein, but a lot of our patients are more senior patients, and they may not be getting quite enough protein. Their appetite may be down from their kidney failure, so they may not be getting enough calories. So a lot of times we're focusing with them on how can we keep your calorie levels at an appropriate level, and then also get protein. So I've got some examples of various protein. We have animal proteins, so this is some pork, we've got egg, beef, chicken, so those are your animal proteins. But people sometimes feel like if I eat another egg or another piece of chicken, I'm going to start clucking, so other alternatives are things like protein bars, where they can get 15 to 20 grams of protein. Nutrition drinks like Boost are another way to get protein, and this Nepro here is a renal-friendly nutrition product. So the dietitian can give advice about whether or not something like Boost would be okay for a patient versus this is a more expensive product. It's a great product, but if they can do well on Boost and can afford Boost better, then that might be a good alternative. And then these are some liquid proteins where they get about the same amount of protein in 1 ounce of this as they might in a whole bottle of that. So with their fluid restriction, those are also a nice.
Okay. And then we have the vitamins and the minerals, and so they have to be. Do they get their blood drawn and these things checked periodically?
Yeah. At dialysis, we check lab labels on our patients at least monthly, so that we know, if they're getting enough protein, if they need more iron, how their phosphorus is running, so that if we need to adjust their diet for that or work with the doctor on their dialysis or their medications to help keep all of those things in line so that they stay healthy.
Yeah. Okay. So, and we've kind of talked about why it is important for someone on dialysis to follow this, because they'll feel better. In the long run, they'll be healthier. So thank you, ladies, again for sharing the information. And when we come back, we're going to talk about a little bit about transplant and dietitians and nutrition. And then we're going to hear from one of our staff members about the kidney walks and some other upcoming events.
When Margaret and I decided to sell the old estate here, we had only one choice in signage: Logan Street signs and banners. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore, but rather located on 10th Street on the south side of Noblesville. Well, we sold the old beauty, and we were able to buy this wonderful estate. And we had so much money left over, I was able to buy this beautiful 1968 Eldorado Cadillac for Margaret. Only 472,000 miles. Margaret loves it because it's got those big seats and that heavy-duty suspension to support her svelte frame. Next time you're looking for signs or banners, call old Jim at Logan Street Signs and Banners, 773-7200. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore.
Welcome back to Kidney Corner, and we're going to continue our discussion about kidneys and nutrition. And we have Angie Thumb with us, a dietitian from Fresenius Medical Care, and then just in a few minutes we're going to hear from Abby, who's with our staff. But Angie, let's talk a minute about transplant and nutrition. So, what are some of those nutritional concerns for a kidney transplant patient?
We're going to hear a theme here. They continue to still need to watch sodium.
Oh, okay.
Maybe not quite as super strictly as before, but sodium still is a concern even after you get that kidney. You still have to watch that. You want to protect that kidney and keep it healthy. That's probably one of the major concerns. Really, other than that, kind of a healthy diet is recommended. And then you'll be followed by your transplant team, which would include a dietitian. The biggest thing for most transplant patients, number one, is learning to drink more after we've told them don't drink. And now all of a sudden they force those fluids on them to keep that kidney going.
Keep it hydrated,
yeah. And then a lot of times also we're looking at side effects from the anti-rejection medications, which can include blood sugar issues, even if they didn't have those before, or blood pressure problems and weight gain.
Oh, those medications can
the
cause
medications, can cause some of those issues. Now, hopefully, if you have a good medication balance and everything's working really well, you may not have all of those or any of those. But if you do, then your team and your dietitian can help you. Address those with diet factors too.
Okay. And we do have a slide of some helpful websites that people can go to get nutritional information. You've used some of these, and
I there are lots of these, and even if you go to one of these, it'll probably link you to some others, but I always recommend starting with the Kidney Foundation at kidney.org. They do have a section on there called My Food Coach that talks more about diet, recipes, and information, and even as far as stages of kidney disease or dialysis.
That is a good one, because it does kind of give information about, is it good for diabetes, is it good for kidney disease?
Yes, so it kind of breaks it down. Yeah, and then a couple of others, Renal Web, and that will give you a link to a whole lot of other information just about kidney disease in general, about dialysis and transplant.
Okay. And then in this day of cell phones, we have apps and
so again, the My Food Coach by the Kidney Foundation you can get as an app, and allows you to log what you're eating, look up foods, and so does another one called Kidney Appetite, and I've used that one, and it's really good as far as looking up even fast foods where you don't have a food label to look at, get some of that information.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming and sharing your information, and hopefully people can play this back and learn some things. I know I've learned some things today, so I appreciate it. So
thank you.
Now we're going to switch gears, and we have Abby Moore with us, who's with the Kidney Foundation. She's our development director. So Abby, you want to tell us a little bit about our upcoming walks? And
Absolutely, Nikki. Thank you for having me on to talk about our kidney walks.
Sure.
We have a few coming up quickly. The first walk here is in Maryville, Indiana, followed by Evansville, Mishawaka, and then right here in Indianapolis, we have our walk on June 11th. And then if you are still north, we have a walk in Fort Wayne. I'll talk about our Indianapolis walk.
Okay.
For those of you who don't know, the National Kidney Foundation is dedicated to prevention and improving the health of people who do have kidney disease, and just generally spreading awareness. And one way we need to do that is to have some fundraising events.
Yeah.
So the Kidney Walk is a great way for us to fundraise and at the same time spread awareness. So our Kidney Walk in Indianapolis is at the Indiana Historical Society in Canal. It's a 3-mile walk, and it's usually a beautiful day. Indiana weather is
It's a very nice. It's a very nice setting. Yes, it's very fun.
So our Indianapolis walk here, we have about 1,000 participants, and it continues to grow. We raised over $120,000 last year, and that money goes to fund these programs for patients and awareness and testing also for early signs of kidney disease. So to register, you go to kidneywalk.org, and it's free to register. I recommend that you start a team, recruit your friends, family, coworkers, get them involved. And there's a lot of fun ways you can fundraise for us. One of those, here's an idea: have a car wash in your community, have a bake sale. I don't know about you, but I'm in for that. And just generally plan on showing up the day of the walk and having a fun time. It's just a great way to celebrate life and be involved in the community at the same time.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams I know that they get T-shirts, matching T-shirts, and there's a DJ there, and we have Billy the Kidney, our mascot, there. So it is a fun-filled time. And also, we usually have a free screening at all of our walks too, which you can kind of learn your risk for kidney disease, have your blood pressure checked. So we have that as well. So, okay, well, thank you, Abby. So I hope we get a lot of people that are new folks this year
Yes,
to join in with
absolutely.
us.
We would love to keep growing.
So I'm going to talk just a little bit about a few other upcoming events that we have going on. So as we mentioned, March is Kidney Month, and so we're going to have just a lot of different events going on. March 4th is a symposium for kidney health professionals. It's an educational event. And Thursday is actually World Kidney Day, so there will be kidney awareness and celebration things going on across the nation, the world. And we're going to have some education events going on in different places that day. And then on Saturday, March 12th, we have a free kidney screening at the Light of the World Church from 9 to 1. So if you're interested in coming or learning more info, you can call our office, and I'll show that number pretty soon. And then Thursday, March 17th, that's St. Patrick's Day, and the Kidney Foundation always walks in the parade, and Billy the Kidney, who's our mascot, joins us, and we have a good time. So, we're looking for people that would like to walk with our unit and carry banners and just hoop and holler and have fun. So you can call our office on that too. And then Wednesday, March 30th, there's going to be at a Jersey Mike's in Fort Wayne a day of giving. So if you go eat there, a portion of your money spent will be donated to the Kidney Foundation. So we try to have a lot of things going on in the month of March to increase this awareness. Then later on in the year, in June, we're going to have the Donate Life Transplant Games of America, and that will be in Cleveland, Ohio. And what that involves is that we have a group of individuals from Indiana. They represent Indiana that participate in these games. They're multi-sport. And also there are living donors that attend and donor families as well. So not only is it a fun event, it's a very kind of touching and emotional event for a lot of people because it showcases just how much organ donation has meant to people, giving them their quality of life back again. Next week, later in the month, we're going to have another Kidney Corner, and we're going to be focusing on kidneys and heart and the relationship between those because there is a close connection there. And that will be later in the month, and we hope that you will join us for that. But to find out more information about any of the things we've talked about today, or if you just have questions or something that you would like to see discussed on Kidney Corner, just shoot us an email or give us a call. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next Kidney Corner.